Today we will be discussing two pieces of Asian artwork. These pieces are the Great Wave and the David vases. The first one we will be discussing is the one you are looking at right now, and it is the Great Wave off Kanagawa.
This was made by a man named Katsushika Hokusai in 1832 as a part of a series of ink ukiyo-e woodblock prints called 36 Views of Mount Fuji, which were distributed throughout all of Japan.
In this piece, you can faintly see Mount Fuji in the background, symbolizing stillness and eternity. However, the most prominent feature in this piece is definitely the waves of Kanagawa, which symbolizes the force of nature and the weakness of man, shown by the boats which are struggling to stay afloat. You can say that the imposing force of the wave, compared to the stillness of the mountain, symbolizes yin and yang, because they're opposing forces. These two contrasting aspects of nature come together in this piece to highlight the waves, which appear to be swallowing up the mountain.
There are many motifs or designs in this piece of artwork. The first motif that we see is Mount Fuji. There are two religions that relate to Mount Fuji, one of them being Buddhism and the other one being Shintoism. Mount Fuji was named after a female goddess in Buddhism. This goddess's name was Fuji, and she ruled all natural energy. The reason they chose a goddess instead of a god is because volcanoes are believed to be female forces and not male forces. Shintoism is an ethnic religion that focuses on religious practices, and it means the way of the gods in Japanese. Shangen is the Shinto goddess of Fujiyama, and a shrine dedicated to her can be seen at the top of the mountain. The boats and the waves represent a common fisherman's way of life.
Cross-cultural connections can be shown all across this piece. Despite heavy restrictions on trade in Japan at the time, Hokusai took elements from Dutch art, which was imported from the Netherlands to Japan, and incorporated it into his art. This can be signified by the low horizon line, which separates Mount Fuji from the ocean. Another cross-cultural connection is the European color, Prussian blue, which was very prominent at the time and is what gives this piece its signature cerulean color. These aspects, combined with the traditional Japanese art style, comes together to create one of the most iconic Japanese works.
This iconic Japanese work of art also uses formal characteristics such as line, shape, color, light, space, and patterns to create a sense of chaos. The giant curve along the wave in the piece of art guides your eye toward the small boats in the ocean and shows how small and weak they are compared to the powerful waves. The small white circles coming off of the top of the waves show how intricate this piece is and how much time and thought it must have taken to create this piece. The color palette consists of mainly blue, white, and brown. This is a very simple color palette, and the combination of the simple color palette and the intricate design is like the opposing forces of yin and yang.
Another Asian art piece, which has been influenced by Europe, is the David vases, which also feature a distinctive blue color. These vases were created by Zhang Wenjing, which, in addition with an incense burner, were offered to a temple in Shuncheng. These vases are filled with iconography, from the phoenix, which is shown on the necks of both vases, representing eternity, rebirth, and yin, to the dragons, which take up the body of the vases, representing eternity, fortune, and yang. In addition, the elephants that function as holds for the vase symbolize strength and willpower. In addition, the leaves and the flowers near the top of the vase symbolizes the ties to the natural world, which are emphasized by all of the other mythical creatures which are shown on these vases. What's interesting about this vase is that the dragon and the phoenix are shown together, creating what is signature to Taoist beliefs, the yin and yang symbol.
The motifs or designs on the David vases reflect the nature of Taoism, and that they connotate certain animals with certain traits as a way of connecting with nature. Even the clouds represent the celestial realm, where said mythical beings would exist. The story behind this vase also suggests how Taoism functions.
These vases, along with the missing incense burner, were offered by Zhang Wenjing to a local temple in Shengchen for General Hu Jingyi, a military figure who was deemed a god after demonstrating strategical might, wisdom, and the ability to predict the future. These feats are represented in Zhang Wenjing's vases through the animals depicted, a motive that is shared by many Chinese artworks.
When the Mongols conquered China in 1279, they wouldn't expect porcelain, a new type of ceramic invented during the time, to be referred to as China today. That's right, and in addition to being Mongolian, the David vases, which have a distinctive blue color, get this blue color from a mineral called cobalt, which is found in where is Iran today. This means that this mineral was imported over 5,900 miles from Iran to China, and then to where these vases were made. Even the word porcelain comes from the Italian word porcellana. The term porcelain was coined by Marco Polo when he remarked that the clear, glossy surface looked like a cowrie shell, which is called porcellana in Italian. And of course, these vases are fundamentally Taoist. All of these cultural connections come together to create what is the David vases.
The formal characteristics of the David vases include color, space, and patterns. The vases are underglazed with blue and have a background of white. The main designs are blue and in the center section of the vase. These designs are more spaced out, while the designs on the top and bottom of the vase are more compact. Two patterns we see at the top of the vase are flowers and leaves. Two designs that we see at the bottom of the vase are symbols and flowers.
To compare these two pieces, the great waves off Kanagawa can be said to symbolize the Taoist yin-yang symbol through the relentless moving waves with the still, immobile Mount Fuji, whereas the dragon and phoenix in the David vases also represent yin-yang. However, the David vases depict the celestial realm where dragons and phoenixes exist, whereas the waves off Kanagawa presents the natural landscape of Japan. In addition, the vases show Taoism's beliefs and myths, while the prints present the society of common fishermen, therefore depicting different cultures. Both pieces were influenced by Europe, the waves by Dutch art and Prussian blue, and the vases Muslim blue color created by cobalt from areas near the Middle East. The characteristics of each piece are different as well, where the woodblock print uses lines and curves to guide the observant across the artwork, and the porcelain vases use space and lines to create sections in the vase. This is how two completely different art pieces can still relate to one another despite being from a separate time and place.